So there's an experience of separation which says that I'm here. And that here-ness is the experience that the body is a boundary in which an entity called the me lives, and the boundary is the skin, and then there's outside of that boundary where everything else is. And the experience of being separate is one having to navigate that outside reality. And when that sense of separation arises, it comes with the sense that this appearance, this has meaning and purpose. And so the navigation is about fulfilling the need of finding or fulfilling the meaning and purpose that I feel I have. Now, that the life of that sort of experience is one of satisfaction and dissatisfaction. It's all it can do, really. It can get and lose, or that's the experience. And what it's trying to do is to get enough. There isn't enough. It'll never be enough because the experience of separation is insatiable. It can't have enough because it's just fundamental to the experience of separation. In the end, what's longed for isn't satisfaction and dissatisfaction. It's the end of the experience that there's someone separate. Now that separate experience doesn't want the end of it, or if it thinks it does, what it wants to know the end of it. What it might do if it hears this is it'll imagine that there's going to be an event at some point in the future called the end of me. And that's what it thinks we're talking about. We're not. There is no me. There is no you. This, including that sense of separation, is already needlessly what it is and completely full as itself. It couldn't be more of what it is than it is already. And that's what's longed for. The fullness and the emptiness that this is. And that's already true. There is no event, nothing is going to happen in apparent time that's going to make it more what it is already. There isn't really an answer. The question it comes from the individual that wants to understand what's happening because it feels like it'll give it some sort of power over what's happening, the ability to act in a way or a different way. Because it's an insecure reality, being a sense of that sense of separation. I mean, in the end, it dies and somewhere knows that. And it doesn't know what this is, and so it really wants to control it, and so it wants to know how it happens and why it happens. So it comes up with religions and spiritual beliefs and astral bodies and all sorts of stuff in order to make it feel better in this sort of scary reality of separation. But there just isn't an explanation for this. There's not enough time. So if it's appearing as a me, that's aliveness appearing as a me. The only thing that really we discuss is the fact that the sense of separation engenders a sense that something needs to happen. The sense that this is incomplete. But that's aliveness as well. There's no way to get closer to what's longed for. The me in a way, it's death, and the knowing of everything is the sort of the concrete, it makes everything kind of concrete and set. And so it sits in this room, the me, and it knows where it is, and it knows what it is, and it knows how it is, how everything is. It knows the floor, so it doesn't see the floor. It knows the wall, so it doesn't see the wall. It knows this. It knows all the words and the concepts, so it doesn't hear any of it. It knows it all, and that's not enough. And so it wants more, just more, because it knows everything. It misses the infinitude, the beginningless endlessness of this. The newness. It can't see that. It's looking. It only sees what it can know. So somebody asked the other day, what's the point? Well, there isn't one. It wants a point. It wants a goal. It wants somewhere to go. Because the experience is, this isn't it. It's in a new experience. It's in more knowing. It's somewhere else. It's in adding something to myself. Whereas what's longed for is absence, emptiness. But this is already empty. It's a dream that there's a real context to this and that anything is actually known. It's an illusion that there's a separate individual that knows what this is. It's misleading it can be misleading, the me, you start feeding the me, you're giving the me something, you're misleading it into thinking that there's something in it for it, that it's real, and there's something it can have. It'll hear this as something it can know, or something that applies to its experience. So it'll try to leave here and have experiences related to what we're talking about here. There's an identification with the space or whatever, and so the sense that you are a bigger entity than just in the body, and so it moves through the consciousness or whatever, and it's not like that. There's no separation for anything to move really anywhere. There's only apparent movement. Experience of separation, which is what we're calling a me, tries to form everything into a better experience. And so the personalities can sometimes be, or I would call it the way that this is, can sometimes be to the me, which there isn't one, unacceptable. And so it's like a straitjacket trying to be good. But every body has a particular way of being, a particular energy about them. I guess generally in a meeting it would be about something. It'd be about, that this should know something that doesn't, and it would be about imparting it and helping that to find it. And in that way, what we're talking about here is, I guess, well, it's just not like that. Because I can't. I can't tell you what we're talking about. Because it's already true there. Whatever's happening is the whole of it. It's the whole, it's wholeness appearing as looking, this, I guess, looking here. And this is wholeness looking there. And it's not about anything, but it is love. That's the whole of it. That's home. It just is unconditional love. And unconditional love, it doesn't have a quality to it. It isn't an object or something to know or to become. It is all qualities. It is everything that's happening. Whatever is being felt or thought or anything in of that nature, absolutely everything is already that. Now, in this unconditional love, there appears an experience that seems to know where it is and who it is. And part of that experience of knowing where and who I am is one of feeling separate. And fundamentally, it's separate from home or separate from unconditional love. And that sense of being separate engenders the sense that something needs to happen for this to be home or for this to be what's longed for. Now, that something needing to happen makes sense to it because it feels like what needs to be, what's longed for, what's wanted, is hidden. It's somewhere else. It's hidden. Maybe it's hidden, hope, it's hidden in these words. Maybe there'll be a resonance. Maybe there'll be a glimpse or an insight. Maybe something will happen, which will bring the experiencer, that sense of being separate, closer to home. And that can't happen, obviously, because of what I've already said. It's already that. So even the sense of looking for it or trying to find it is unconditional love, because there's nothing excluded, it's all included. It's needlessly what it is, this. There's such a beauty about that. It is so free. Suffering is freedom appearing as suffering. Thinking is freedom thinking, or unconditional love, if you like. And so it might be that listening to this, there might be the sense that there's a need to get something, a need to understand, a need to find. There isn't, but that's not a suggestion that it shouldn't happen. It's just pointing out that that's also the unconditional love which is longed for. It just, in that sense, it doesn't change. And in that sense, it doesn't matter. And in another way, it doesn't care. Unconditional love is completely non-judgmental. It can appear to judgment, but it doesn't care. It's not interested. It just is love. That's just all this is. Doesn't change. But it's all inclusive. There's nothing excluded. So the idea is the individual has a plan or a story about the meaning and purpose of this. And every other person, there aren't any, but every other person, if they're doing what it feels aligns with its plan, they're good people. And if it does things that don't, they're bad people. That's just the idea of the individual, the separate individual that has the experience that there's something other than this. There's something other than what is. And in that something else, in that somewhere else, is where the answer is hidden. There is nothing more than this room. There's nothing more than sitting on a chair. It's not needed. For the individual, that sounds pretty boring. There's already someone yawning. It's boring because there's nothing in it for the individual. Something I haven't said yet, that individual, that experience, it's actually an illusion. It has no reality other than the knowing that it is. The knowing I am is the whole of the story of the sense of separation. And what's truly longed for, it is unconditional love, but it is the absence of that knower. That's also the biggest fear. That's not a goal because it doesn't matter. Unconditional love is not interested in whether there's an appearance of the experience of separation or not. It's not interested. It's not even interested, much less cares. So in the end, the meeting and the whole of this isn't about anything. It's already perfect, and that doesn't change. Apparent change is just perfection appearing to change. So the meeting isn't about helping anyone. There isn't anyone to help. It isn't about changing anything. It's just an expression of the unconditional, as that is. There is no difference anywhere. All differences are apparent. So there's nothing here that isn't there. There isn't anything, there hasn't been something found that has apparently been lost there. Everything is of the same energy, or the same no-thingness, being chairs and walls and floors. It's whole. It's unified. It's undivided. It's singular. It's already that way. That includes any feelings, any thoughts, all the stuff. There's this thing called a me or a self or an I am. And its experiences, there are real differences. I am here and everything's out there. And for that experience, there's the thoughts and feelings are the real red flags that it likes to look at and try to manipulate in order to find a better experience. That sense is still not different. That is still the same no-thingness that everything else is. What that means is that the experience of being separate, the experience of being an individual, the experience that I am in the body, I am separate from everything else, which engenders a sense that something needs to happen, that this needs to become something, that this isn't it, and what's longed for is somewhere else, is an illusion. Literally, it's an illusion. And that contracted energy has the experience of being separate from everything. It's that I'm here, everything is there. And with that experience comes with it a sense that this is about me, and it's about my experience of becoming. That this isn't it, and what's longed for is somewhere else. It's actually part of that experience of separation is that what's longed for is hidden. What we're talking about, though, I think, is, as I said at the beginning, there isn't a real difference. There are apparent differences, but there isn't a real difference. It's only in that dream of separation that difference seems to be real.